Hello and welcome. My name is Simone. I'm an accountant and a financial analyst. And in this presentation, we will discuss the chart of accounts. I prepared two videos in relation to the chart of accounts. In this video, I give you a presentation. In the next videos, I give you a practical example. So what we discuss in this video? I give you the definition of a chart of accounts. I explain how a well-structured chart of accounts should be prepared and what are the advantages to have a well-structured chart of accounts. In the next videos, I'm going into Excel and I explain you step by step how I prepare a chart of accounts. So we can start from the definition. The definition, a chart of accounts, is a structured listing of all the financial accounts used by a business to record transactions and organize its finances. So I will stop just 1 second to discuss about this definition. And I would say that the chart of accounts itself is only a list of codes that an accountant needs in order to record journal inside the accounting software. So itself is only a list of code. However, a chart of accounts becomes an essential tool inside the accounting software because there are two documents, part of the financial statements that are directly linked to the chart of accounts, that are the balance sheet and the income expenditure. So, for this reason, the chart of accounts must be structured in a certain way to support the preparation of these two documents. So, if someone asks why the chart of accounts is structured listing, because need to support the preparation of the documents that are directly linked to the chart of the accounts. Now, I prepared this slide to better explain this point. We have the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts is the list of code which are inside the accounting software that an accountant needs in order to record journal entries. What are journal entries? Journal entries translate into numbers the business transactions that happen inside the company every day. If we consider a specific period of time, when we have a list of journal entries, we are able to download a trial balance, which is the starting point to prepare the balance sheet and the income expenditure. So, therefore, you can understand that if the chart of account is correctly structured as are structured the balance sheet and the income expenditure, the accountancy will be more transparent. And this is an essential point. So, how is structure listing a chart of account? With account categories and numerical code. If I should explain very easily, there is a code, description, number, which this description, number, and the code is inside different categories to support the preparation of the financial statements. The chart of accounts depends on the business of on the company because we can have small companies which usually run a small business, so they can have an essential chart of accounts. We can have big companies, and we go through more details during this presentation, where maybe they have different business units and they need a more complex chart of accounts. A chart of accounts is unique for every company, so every company has its chart of accounts. However, companies that operate in similar sector, they have usually similar chart of accounts. So usually construction companies, we can find a similar chart of accounts, which will be different to the chart of accounts of non-profit organization and the chart of accounts, for example, restaurant. I insert only a couple of examples in this presentation, but I can insert a lot of many presentations. For example, professional companies have a specific chart of accounts. Companies that operate in the service sector has a specific chart of accounts. So every company has its chart of accounts. The company that operate inside the same sector usually have similar chart of accounts. When I'm going in Excel and I explain how I prepare a chart of accounts, this will be more clear. So now there is an important note that I insert inside this presentation. As you believe, I believe that you understand, the chart of accounts is a financial method. So an accountant needs to translate the business transaction of every day into numbers. Use the GL code, go inside the list and pick up the GL codes that are correct for this transaction. However, the chart of accounts is not a financial report. The chart of accounts only support the preparation of the two main documents inside the financial statements. And this is extremely important to clarify. What are the advantages of a well-structured chart of accounts? Well, if the chart of accounts is structured correctly, every transaction will be correctly recorded inside the correct category, as I already said. It supports clear financial reporting and also the understanding for the manager and for the accountant that need to take a decision. I need also to remember, because sometimes it's easily to forget, that one of the main purpose of the accountancy is to prepare a financial statement and to calculate the taxes along with the other. In relation to the last point is very, very important, and I want to make a comment in relation to this. Usually they said that the chart of account should not be modified because one of the main activities for an accountant is to do accountancy, prepare financial statements that are comparable along the years. This is one of the main activities for an accountant in order to verify the evolution of the business and the financial solidity of the company along many years. However, as I'm an accountant, I would say that this is not always correct, because it's important sometimes to change a chart of accounts when an accountant believes that is important in order to reflect some specific new activities inside the business. And when I'm going into the next video and I will explain the chart of account to prepare, I will make an example. So usually the suggestion is not create a new GL code for every new cost that you have. This is incorrect. However, if there is a new cost which is a material and can have a significant effect inside the company result, it's important to reflect and to create, to change the chart of accounts. So now, how to create a well-structured chart of accounts? I believe that you already understand. I have a list of code that I use to prepare to do my accountancy and to prepare the balance sheet and the income expenditure. Therefore, there will be code that will be part of the balance sheet and codes that will be part of the income statements. The first are called permanent accounts, the other are called temporary accounts. These are very important distinction between permanent and temporary. And in the next videos, I will explain also these important details. So please subscribe. When these videos will be available, you will be notified. So now we have the GL code that are part of the balance sheet. So we have GL codes that are part of the asset accounts, liability accounts, equity accounts. There are also other subcategories inside the balance sheet. Therefore, it's important that the chart of accounts reflect this. So we have inside the asset accounts, we have current accounts, non-current assets. Inside the liability accounts, we have current liabilities, non-current liabilities, and equity accounts. With regard to the income statement accounts, we have GL code that are part of the revenue accounts and the expense accounts. In relation to this, I would come back to what I said previously, and I will make a comment. It depends on the business. So if I have a small business, I can have only revenue accounts and expense accounts. However, if I'm the accountant of a big companies, it's possible that the GL code inside the revenue accounts can be subcategories to reflect the business units of the company, and the same as as per the expense accounts. So now I give you this brief introduction about the chart of accounts. I hope this has supported you to start understand the importance and how a chart of account is structured. So into the next videos, we'll go through more practice. I'm going inside Excel and I show you how I prepare a chart of accounts. So many thanks for watching this video and we see you to the next videos.